Hello, hello, everyone. Oh, it's echoing.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, Petra.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
Good. I was sharing my screen and then it booted me out of everything. So I'm sorry for all the participants that were waiting. I hope it's going to work. I'm going to share my screen one more time, then we'll get started.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn my Bluetooth back on. No, this video is okay. Nope, nothing. Okay, let's try it one more time.
What's up?
Ugh. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to share my screen without it. It's saying I don't have permission for some reason.
Oh, okay. Try now because the last time that happened when I came in, it worked for someone. I don't know if I
maybe because you had just share my screen, so let me try that one more time. And my headphones aren't working anymore. So that's out of the question. Okay. Yay! Okay.
Perfect.
Y'all see it on your end, right?
Yes, yay.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
Yay! Volume's okay?
Everything's perfect.
Yes. See, I just needed Reem in here. That's it. Okay. Hello, hello. Thank y'all for joining me. I really appreciate everyone being here. Hope y'all had a great lunch. No food comas right now, though, because we are going to talk about fitness and how you're going to prioritize that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if volume is an issue. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as well. If you have any questions, throw them in there. Nope, not a calculator. Oh my gosh. Struggle. There you go. Okay. About me, I'm not tech savvy, that's for sure. I just wanted to, since this is the LCN convention, just share my history with LCN and how it's really important to me, even though I'm still not a board member, why I really agreed and was so excited to do this. So I co-founded my chapter at CSUN when I was a student, and then was president, treasurer, president, and then I most recently was the LCN West secretary, which these are some pictures from USC's awesome convention, and then our first annual leadership convention that we hosted for the presidents. Okay. Prezi's not, there you go. Okay, so my history has all been kind of just fitness related, I guess, but degree-wise, I went from kinesiology to public health, now currently in chiropractic programs. So all of it focuses on health education and just focusing on health prevention, which is my life mission and my life goal is to empower people through exercise, through fitness, and through their own health. Certifications is all just a bunch of like alphabet soup, but ultimately I'm a lifelong learner. Whether you're in the fitness field or the health industry, you know, you have to continue with the CEUs. So this is just a bunch of stuff that I've enjoyed getting over the years. Work prior to dropping out of or quitting a full-time job and now current, I'm still managing my personal training business. My mom and I co-founded an overnight oats business, and then I'm still teaching here and there and shadowing a doctor, just again, all encompassing what I want to do in the future once I finish my chiropractic program. Again, some awesome opportunities I've had. That's just, again, trying to encompass the last 15 years of my life in just this next, hopefully 45 minutes. But again, why are you here? Why do you trust me? So kind of for me, taking it back a story a few years ago when I didn't prioritize fitness. So again, you're not here because I'm perfect, because I've been prioritizing my fitness my whole life. Probably the other way around. So the last job I had right after grad school, I was associate director of sports and wellness at Mount St. Mary's University, for those that's like near UCLA, if you know where that is. And I live in Pasadena. So it was about like a 2-hour commute one way because of traffic. I wasn't working out for 3 or 4 months. I really just lost my identity. And for me, fitness was always my identity as a personal trainer for 10 years. And all of a sudden, sitting in a car for 4 or 5 hours, not prioritizing fitness, it affected my mental health at work. I'm still getting work done because you have to, but mentally just not there. So realizing I had to make a change, I probably worked out 2 to 3 times in those 4 months span. And if you know me, you're like, that's not you. And it wasn't me. I became someone I didn't recognize. So losing your identity and having to refine it was a big thing. And for me, the change was quitting the job because I had found a different one. So whatever step, again, don't go crazy and quit your job because you don't have time to work out, but realizing that if it's not, you're not becoming who you want to be because you're missing this piece of your life, because it really affects everything. That's when I had to realize I needed to make a change. And even in my new job, it took me about 6 months to be okay with stepping out of my office, going for those walks on lunchtime. And I think we, in the culture, whatever work setting you have, prioritizing your health, whether it's taking a lunch break, working out on your lunch break, working out before work, we get that idea that we're being lazy by prioritizing fitness. So I want you today, as you're sitting through the steps that I'll go through, realizing that it's not, you're not putting work aside, you're not putting your family aside, you're just putting yourself first for that 30 minutes a day, 60 minutes a day, 2 to 3 times a week. Nothing crazy. I'm trying to, sorry, my screen is sharing the bottom tabs and everything. But so step 1, starting with yourself. You have to kind of sit with yourself, whether it's not right now, if you don't have a pen and paper, if you don't have anything to write this down with in your phone, just thinking, taking yourself through these steps is what's important to you. What do you like and dislike? Do you even like working out? What types of exercise do you enjoy doing? What changes can you actually make? Do you have kids? Are you working 2 to 3 jobs? Are you also in school full time? And then lastly, just what environment do you prefer as well? And that's something, because of quarantine, we've only had one environment to choose from, and that's home. But now with everything opening up, hopefully you have options. Second step, aside from knowing yourself and asking yourself these questions, is knowing your why. I don't know if you've read Simon Sinek's book, but start with why. And that's something really big for me in the fitness industry is, why do you work out, or why do you want to work out? Why do you wake up early to go for a run? Why do you prioritize eating healthy versus, going through the fast food drive? So again, if you're writing this down, maybe just jot down your why. And I put a lot of pictures throughout my presentation just to keep your eyes engaged, I guess. But it's not contemplating why you're on earth, what is life, just your why, your reason for moving, whether it's to stay kids, to want to be active 20, 30 years from now. Knowing your why helps you hold yourself accountable when you feel like you're losing track in a few months. And even when you do lose track, you always come back to your why. So again, starting here before we move on to anything else. Stages of change I like to talk about because public health are really big on the stages of change. Hold on, oops, sorry, I was trying to make this full screen because I don't think it's full screen on your end. Nope, that didn't change anything. Okay, that just took me here. Okay, anyways, so going back to stages of change with the trends theoretical model, that's something we've always talked about because it helps you realize where you stand in a behavior change. And you wouldn't be in this presentation if you were still in pre-contemplation, but knowing that if you want to get to maintenance, it does take a few habits that you have to change. And not all habits are good, not all habits are bad, just habits are who you've become and what you do. So going through this is something, again, thinking in the back of your mind, maybe where do you stand now? Number 3 is called determination, but a lot of us know it probably by preparation. So it's probably where you're at now. You're preparing to take those steps. Action is the 6 months. And then again, going to maintenance is you've had this habit for 6 months or more. So hopefully that's where you'll be at the end of this year. You look back and you're like, wow, I actually started something, stuck with it, and I've made this a priority no matter how short or long it's going to take me. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm literally trying to just make it big screen. So if I'm trying to figure it all out right now, but we'll make it work. Anyways, knowing your habits is the final step of knowing who you are. And again, habits relate to that last step we just talked about. So what's the first thing you drop when life gets busy? I actually polled my Instagram yesterday, and maybe at the end, if we have time, I'll read their answers, because sometimes we think that we're the only ones that give up, sleep, that don't have time for something when life gets too busy. But looking at the answers, we all are probably on the same page. We all sacrifice the same things. Knowing your habits in the morning, at night. Do you skip meals when you're stressed out? Do you overeat? Do you snack all day? So thinking about these, and again, if you have that pen and paper with you right now, maybe just write down one habit that you think will have the biggest impact on your mood, because again, fitness really relates to mental health and then your health today. If you have a few seconds, write that down. If you want to share it in the chat, share it in the chat. I lost the chat, actually. I can't see it anymore. I don't know what I did. Hopefully y'all are still there. Okay, there you are. TTM, yes. Okay, so again, if you've written that down, come back to it later. Again, we'll always refer back to that. The one habit. All I'm asking for is just one. Okay, let's get started with step 2, where we're going. So this is like a 3-step system I put together. It's going to get you a 6-pack abs by May. 3 steps. I'm just kidding. Please don't ever believe someone if they tell you that. We are just taking you through this system. It's what helps me kind of get me to the path, get me to my destination. So step 1 of this 3-step system is our destination. We always know what we're supposed to do. We know we're supposed to do eating healthy, maybe have a few fruits and vegetables, maybe exercise twice a week, but doing it is the hardest part probably. So that's kind of where this step is writing down examples, whether it's, you want to ultimately get to working out 3 times, 4 times a week, writing that half marathon, squatting a certain weight, doing push-ups, maybe doing your first push-up, whatever your destination is. Again, if you're writing that down, write that destination. People refer to it as your goal, whatever you want to refer to it, that's your destination. And I like that bottom picture I put there is where you are today and where you want to be. All it probably takes is those few steps we'll work on today together. And the route, mapping it out, whether you're going on a road trip, planning a wedding, planning something, you always have to figure out those steps that you're doing, whether it's buying workout equipment, which was a mission last year in 2020, but now people are probably selling their equipment once they're going back to the gym. If you are comfortable going back to the gym, it's doing your research, what gyms are nearby that are open, still outdoors or indoors, whether it's hiring a trainer or, again, writing down a workout plan, which hopefully we'll get to today in step 3. And then our final step of this 3-step action plan is taking action. So those are the methods that will make your route easier. You're not going to get from here to your destination just by hoping and praying or crossing your fingers. So these are just the things that you're going to do to hold yourself accountable. And I was reading a book last year that had this quote in the beginning of the book. And I love books that have quotes in the beginning, but I wrote it down somewhere so I can remember. So it says, action without vision equals chaos, and vision without action equals fantasy. So for me, that's making me think that goals are intangible without action plans, and these are our action plans. But conversely, taking action without having that set goal in mind is also kind of stressful. You don't know where to go. You're just like that fluster. You're like, I'm just going to stop. I can't do this. So again, you have to have action, but you also need to have that vision in mind. And this is when you have to show up and be there for yourself. And one last quote I put at the end here. I love telling people this, my clients, is that you don't get to your destination by accident. It's whether you take side streets, the freeway. I probably have taken the side streets in my life a lot. You're always still one step ahead, one exit closer to your destination. So as Dory says in Finding Nemo, you just keep swimming, you just keep moving. You'll get there eventually. Being patient with yourself is all you need to do. Okay. Any questions so far before I move into our step 3? We're climbing up the ladder together. Y'all hanging in there. Hopefully you got a cup of coffee by you or water. Okay. So step 3, this will probably be the biggest chunk of my presentation just because I know the description said we'll create a workout plan together. If you're not writing anything down and you're going to reach out to me after, I can always send this to you, but kind of just helping you consider the workout plan, which is the bulk of where you want to go. So a few things to consider if you have your calendar, your Outlook, your iCal in front of you. What days can you actually work out? When do you have like a 30-minute to yourself, 60 minutes to yourself? Just like looking at your calendar, and I plug anything in. I think I'll show you later on. I took a screenshot of my calendar. but how much time can you dedicate in those workouts? You don't have to make it 60 minutes. It can be 20 minutes. It can be 30 minutes. What fits your schedule? And then lastly, where will you work out? If you're sick of being at home, if you have a nice backyard, a garage, if you found a gym that you're comfortable going to, find your where. And I have some tips on that, the next slide. I think the biggest thing a lot of us in the last year we've been stuck at home. We've been sleeping, eating, working at home, also working out at home. But I still find a lot of benefits. I still get my home workouts in sometimes. You're not commuting. You literally can just roll out of bed, get out of your room, change the environment. You're in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to wear a mask in the house because you're there by yourself with your family. So it's a little bit easier to breathe. And you can wear whatever you want. If you want to be in slippers, no shoes, it's up to you. But on the other side, there are a lot of benefits of going to the gym. You have more equipment. You can up the weight. You can challenge yourself a little bit more when you have more equipment. Second, it's a good change of environment. Again, we have been stuck in the house for over a year, and it mentally just can be tedious and not motivating to get a workout in. And third, the big social aspect of fitness, whether you have a workout buddy or you take group exercise classes, the social aspect is a really big key for workouts. And lastly, I still enjoyed hiking. I still enjoyed running during COVID. And now I think I'll still continue that because nature is the best gym, I think. A few tips for those that are comfortable going to the gym, because even for me, a trainer over 10 years, going back to the gym amidst COVID still, I think was stressful, like being around other people, knowing what to wipe down. So always just bringing a towel. I didn't bring a water bottle in at first just so I didn't touch a lot of stuff. Don't touch your eyes and face. I know we have a tendency to do that, but avoiding all that. But the big thing is going in with a plan. As you scope out the space, a little tip I usually do is I'll hop on like an elliptical, the treadmill. So I'm not just staring around looking what to do. I'm actually staying active while I'm scoping out the space, seeing what equipment's empty, seeing where I want to like call dibs. So kind of multitask, you're getting a workout in while figuring out where to grab some weights. A good thing is starting with machines if you're a novice lifter, or if you haven't been in the gym for over a year like a lot of us. Machines are the easy. You don't have to really like take the dumbbells anywhere. You just sit, change the pin, and it's more comfortable for beginners. But if you like dumbbells, you prefer that, grabbing dumbbells, find an empty space, make that your hub. And last gym tip I have, because I love the cable machine, it is versatile. I just put a picture of one that I've seen at gyms. It can be a full body workout, whether it's at the top and you're doing chest flies, you're doing a back fly, you can move it to the bottom, you can do leg abduction, work the glutes, you can do a squat to press. I can go on. I probably could write a book about exercises you can do within this machine. So that's probably the best during COVID. You don't want to be bouncing around a lot of machines. And for me, I still want to stick to one machine. Stick to this, get your full body workout in and head out. It's as simple as that, hopefully. I know simpler, easier said than done. And going in to create the schedule. So on that first slide of the step 3 is knowing your schedule. If it's not by heart, going into your calendar. And for me, I do a 2-step thing on Sunday nights typically. Whether it's that top part is I write down actually what body parts I'll be working out. And then I write them down and set reminders in my Outlook calendar. So whether it's at the top, I write down different shade, work out my quads, exact time. And for me, that just helps kind of know what time I need to be at the gym. So if that's not for you, I'm just I'm a planner. If you're not that type and you really just don't want to overstress yourself, then this isn't for you. Again, everyone likes to plan out their workouts differently. I'm very big on planning it out just week by week because I can't plan out more than a week. Life gets crazy, things happen. And again, this is never set in stone. If you write this down, Tuesday comes around and you just can't make it happen, don't be too hard on yourself. And then going into the workout routine. Okay, so you figured out, okay, I can work out Tuesdays and Fridays. That's it. I'm going to go to the gym one of the days I'll be at home. Maybe at home you have nothing. You'll make it a full body weight workout. Tuesday, you want to try out using the equipment at the gym. You can make that also a full body workout because you have spaced enough days, rest days between Tuesday and Friday. So always space them out. If you pick those 2 days earlier and I didn't mention, don't make them 2 consecutive days. Try to spread them out a little bit, a few days in between. How to do your split. There's so many different splits and I just pet peeve when people always think there's only one way to work out. And this trainer said this is the way they work out and this is how they got their body. But for you, it depends what your goal is, what you want to do with exercise. Are you trying to feel strong? Are you trying to get to a point where you just feel healthy? You have high blood pressure. You want it to go down. So this is just a split. I think I can go into that. For those that have, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, or 6 times a week, maybe a little bit too crazy to start, of course. But even if you just have 2 times a week, that first option, lower body, upper body, I think is the great way to start. Lower body on Tuesday, upper body on Friday, enough time in between to recover. And again, this is a longer week for someone that's more of an experienced lifter, but novice lifters, I mean, there has been a lot of research that shows even doing one set of one exercise once a week is going to get to your goal. It's not, you don't have to do 3 sets, and I'll go into the sets on this next one. So again, if this is overwhelming, I just wanted to show an idea of what you'll eventually get to. But again, pick those days. I like to start full body. If your goal is weight loss, full body is the best. And I'll go into circuit training in a little bit. But if you want to just build muscle, the splits really help. And that kind of, again, always depends on your goal, depends on your expertise and your time commitment. Reps and sets and rest, oh my. So there's a lot going into it. It's not just the workout plan, it's the other stuff that goes into it. And hopefully a lot of you have heard this terminology before. I still defined it here if you're still confused about reps and sets. But of course, there's some overlap in the chart I created between those. So don't get too hung up on those numbers. I think just picking a weight that the last 2 reps are going to be challenging. Your time at the gym, your time working out is pretty valuable. You've dedicated this 30 minutes, this 60 minutes. So trying to push yourself and make it worthwhile, I think for me is important, because I don't want to feel like I can keep going with this weight. Pick a weight or do a certain amount of reps where you feel challenged in those last two reps. But that's just an idea. And rest here means the rest after each set, not after each rep. So let's say you're doing 10 reps, you rest for that 1 set, and then you repeat it 1 more time, 2 more times. Depends on your availability and your time commitment. But again, going back to that research studies that I read, 1 set works. So if you just want to do 1 set, move on to a different exercise, that's also perfectly too. Okay, one last thing on this chapter. Again, this part was a little bit longer than the other ones because it's important, but I think we're all here because we don't really have time to prioritize fitness, and we need to figure out how to save time, and you only have 30 minutes. These words I'll throw in around a lot, but I love doing supersets because even with compound sets, you're doing exercises back to back, minimizing that break, gets your heart rate up a little bit longer. So maybe you want to feel like you worked out. I want to feel like I got a great sweat. These are great ways to do it. And example of a superset is working opposing muscles. So if you're doing a chest press and then you go into a bent over row. A compound set, on the other hand, challenges your muscles a little bit more because it's working the same muscle group. So if you're going from a chest press to push-ups, that's both targeting the pectoralis muscles. So that might be a little bit more challenging in that area. So seeing where you want to start. Trisets are just 3 exercises back to back. So an example one I did was the same thing as that chest press to a bent over row. And then I just add an ab exercise because I don't have time for abs during the week. I sprinkle them in. Lastly, circuit training over the years has kind of just skyrocketed. It's like the kale of fitness. Everyone's obsessed with circuit training. It does get your heart rate up. It's great for weight loss, but it's also great for cardiovascular endurance, your heart health, which we all need to be considerate about. But that's creating your own circuit. If you're not creative, Instagram, and we do live in an age where you can just on the tip of your finger search, find circuit exercises, jumping jacks to push-ups, to high knees, to mountain climbers. I can help you with that again later on if you have questions, but these are done for time, whether your work to rest ratio is 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, or 30-30, where you need an equal amount of time. See how your breath is feeling and catching up. I love circuits too. I used to teach them, do them. I think they're the best. I agree, Rima. Okay. And just, I threw in some apps. I used to have a fitness app, and I don't want to say I regret it, but I literally regret I deleted it and ended it right before COVID hit. If only I was psychic and could predict the future, I would have kept it. But I loved it. I had my clients on there, keeping ourselves accountable, but holding yourself accountable, which is big. And I'm really big on accountability. So the apps are great. You can plug them in. You can go back and see your progress and be like, damn, girl, like I lifted that much back like 3 weeks ago, and now I'm lifting this much. Like you feel awesome. And it's a little like, if you like to handwrite them still, you can, but it's a little like thing you can carry around with you on your phone. Okay, that was a mouthful. Any questions on how to plan your workout before I move into step 4? So we talked about the plan, whether that's a workout routine, what sets and reps you can include, how to split your workouts. Any questions on that? I'll keep an eye in the chat, or we can save them till the end. Okay. Step 4, shortest step, but I think it's the hardest. It's making it happen. It's setting those reminders, whether it was on your Outlook calendar. I have a reminder pop up for me. You can ignore it or you can take it seriously. Prep your clothes the night before. For me, that's still something I do 10 years later. I'm still prepping my shoes, my socks, my clothes, my sports bra, everything the night before. Prepping your snacks, especially if you're working out and then heading to work if you're back in the office, or even if you're working out at home and you have to hop on Zoom at 8, having the apple you can take up to your desk, just because it is important. And then I'll probably talk about it at the end, but having nutrition be part of your fitness plan is going to make everything a little bit easier. Don't negotiate with yourself. I think our non-negotiables have to be taking exercise seriously or any sort of physical activity. So what is your non-negotiable? Is it, for me, it's always been my workouts, but for you, is it your walk? Is that your sanity time where you can listen to podcasts while you walk for 30 minutes on your lunch break? If you have to skip those, make sure it's worth it. So always know your non-negotiables and don't negotiate with yourself, because we always will be like, oh, okay, I'll do it later. But don't ever let yourself down, because you won't let your friends down if they want you to show up. And lastly, not hitting snooze. I think that's a big thing, whether it's putting your phone across the room, jumping out of bed. If you just for a second lay there and think about it, you're going to stay in bed. Our brains are wired to not want us to do something that's pretty challenging, which is waking up early or getting out of bed when we don't want to. So if you let your body beat your brain and you just kind of get out of it, you won't have to sit in bed for 10 minutes negotiating with yourself. And that's when that negotiation happens that we want to avoid. So these are just my tips to make it happen. We all, again, live different lives. So whatever you can to make it happen, that's for you. If it's putting Post-its, right in your mirror while you're brushing your teeth, if you need that extra motivation, then put those Post-its up. Going into step 5, we have a few more steps and then we'll go into some questions. So step 5 is keeping it up. So you wrote down your, knowing yourself, you wrote down your plan, and now you have to figure out how to keep this up for more than just 1 week, because let's be real. Sometimes we pick up something and we're like, gung-ho, this is awesome, I feel amazing. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I don't know if I have time for this. But because it's not just about fitness, as I talked about, it's about these key players, these 4 key players to always think about when you're having a plan. But sleep, I'm not going to talk about these in detail because it's a whole nother workshop, but sleep is important, because if you lack sleep, and again, we all sacrifice sleep when life gets stressful, but when you're tired, you might not fully be able to work out and you might cause injury. So no sleep might lead to injury. We don't want that. Recovery is important. Again, people think recovery as being lazy. I'm just going to be a couch potato. It doesn't have to be. It can be, those are the days you and your family takes a walk, goes on a hike. It can be active recovery like yoga, or you can literally just lay on the floor and stretch and just want to be like a starfish. Whatever your recovery days are, but recovery over the years has kind of ticked up a little bit, luckily, but knowing that to fully work out for those 2 days a week, the recovery is crucial. Nutrition, again, having that time to plan your foods, cook if you're not a big cooker, knowing what to grab and avoiding foods that are your trigger foods when you're stressed, and leads into stress managing it, which again, I'm not here to preach about stress management. That's a whole nother workshop, but ultimately I know it's like when you're too stressed out, you don't have time to work out. But sometimes when you make that time to work out, it does boost your energy, because we know endorphins come when you work out, and it just mentally makes you more awake. And whether it's working out before a big meeting, you just feel more energized and able to take on that big meeting. Got a few more things in this. So again, this is step 5. You know yourself, you know how you got here. The key players are going to keep you going. But a lot of things I've heard from my clients, even clients that haven't trained in years, they'll text me, I hit a plateau, I don't know what to do. And the plateau just means like, okay, you've got a lot of strength gain or maybe weight loss, weight gain, whatever your goal is, you've gotten to the top and now you've just hit that plateau. You're still working out as hard, you're still eating the same amount, but you just haven't seen change. And that's where, unfortunately, a lot of people do give up and quit, but not you, not us. We do not. We figure out, we kind of self-reflect here, and this is the time, if you don't self-reflect, maybe go back to the notes you've taken, what you've written down, and maybe it's adding a workout a day. If you've only been doing 2 workouts a week for 3-4 months, adding that 3rd workout will make a big difference. Changing up your split routine. I gave you a few options on those last slides, but they're are endless options of how you can split up your routine. And even just changing up, if you're doing upper body, lower body to full body, that can really make a big difference. Making changes to your diet. I'm not here to talk about diet, but that's also something that will help you ex-nay that plateau. See if there's another habit. Earlier, I asked you just to pick one habit that you feel will make a big difference in your life now, but maybe there is another underlying habit that we just don't want to admit we have, or we've been brushing under the rug. You have to kind of, as that last step says, just get real with yourself, knowing if that habit really has been putting you a few steps behind. And then keep going. I know it's easier said than done, but when we see that plateau and we want to give up, that's when you kind of have to push a little bit further and see where you can take yourself mentally and physically. And honestly, I think you will shock yourself. And those are the moments that surprise us. Again, we've plateaued, what now? But now we've maybe lost motivation, what now? I feel like I get through this personally every year. I just actually had this loss of motivation. I was in Utah for my 30th birthday, was hiking all these beautiful heights, physically active, for hours on days. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get back home to LA to, keep this activity up. But for some reason I got back, and for 3-4 weeks, I just couldn't get myself to want to go to the gym or to work out or run really. I don't know, maybe it was just the beauty of Utah. Nothing really beat that, but we all go through that. But I just really had to go back to my why of why I even exercise and why I do this to help others and inspire others. But so go back to your why. Why did you start moving? I'm not really big on motivation, honestly. I know motivation is big. Maybe it's that beginning step that will get you there. But sometimes, because motivation is it's an emotion, it can fluctuate. It's not really always going to be the same and consistent. So for me, it's probably what's kept me going and doing this is having that set schedule, but making it a priority. And discipline always wins in that way. So whether it's discipline versus motivation, discipline will get you there. Motivation might start you off. So for me, it's being disciplined. It's knowing that you don't want to get shit done, but you have to get it done. That's kind of what discipline is. So motivation at that point just takes a back seat. It comes and goes. And then lastly, just reaching out to someone you trust. When you lose motivation, reaching out to me, reaching out to a friend, a workout buddy, someone that you trust. I think that's really important. And then for some reason, the song came just playing in my ears while I was typing this. I don't know if you guys remember that song. I know I can, I know I can. Anyways, so that just came to my mind because it's like knowing that I can't do this and knowing that I will get there. It was a random song like 10 years ago. Anyways, I'll go ahead and keep going. Okay, so that was our last step, knowing that you're going to feel like you're stuck and you have to unstick yourself and find those connections to help get you out of there. So we are near the end. If you have any questions, feel free to keep asking them. Okay, so now we made it. We've gone through all these steps. You figured out your why. You know your habits. You wrote down that one goal. You pick the days during the week you're going to work out. You have an idea. Maybe I'm going to sign up for a free week at this gym near my house. I used to work at F45, so I want to say F45. They have a free week there. So knowing what to do. But it's still all over the place. I know you're not writing stuff down right now. Probably you're just sitting here soaking it in. So whether your Sunday nights are your time to plan, maybe find time this Sunday, pick those 2 to 3 days a week, plug them into your calendar. If you don't want to write down what exactly you're going to do, just write down workout, my me time, whatever it is, plug that in and just put your Post-its randomly throughout the day. Again, that's like your homework Sunday night, just to sit there and get to where you want to go. So if maybe you're doing this and you've been listening to me just ramble on for the past 36 minutes, you still don't know where to start. You're not really like a big gym person. You don't want to lift weights. It's going for a walk, I still plug in my walks sometimes on lunch. I like to take my daily walks. Those are my non-negotiables as well. Knowing where you want to start, whether it's you can't commit to the full time. A lot of people like breaking up the 10 minutes into increments. That works. Picking an exercise you want to get good at. When I wanted to really get good at push-ups, I would do them consistently every day at night before bed, as many as I can for one set, and then call it a day. So those little things might seem like a little minute part of your day, those 5 minutes maybe you're doing push-ups, but overall it might build that habit in your mind, like, oh, I do feel good after those, simple 5 minutes. Setting that reminder and just doing those will make a really big impact on you. And I love memes. I could have made this whole presentation with memes. Going into recapping again, taking charge of your habits. because again, you want to take control of your own time. Working, again, I'm not working a full-time job now because I'm a full-time student, but when I used to have a full-time job, I feel like time wasn't mine. It was either my staff's time, my boss's time. I had to give my time up to other people. But when you have this plan in your calendar, you kind of take ownership of your time, and you've controlled that by controlling your habits. Second is just setting those multiple reminders. I've mentioned that way too many times, but reminders help us because we will let ourselves down sometimes, unfortunately. Creating a plan that works for you. If plans I showed you earlier don't work for you, again, I'm here after to chat, or anytime you have a question, when you are ready to commit to writing down a workout plan, weeks later, months later, I'll still be there for you. And then lastly, the KISS principle is keep it simple, stupid. It really is keep it simple. A lot of people on Instagram, if you are those people that goes through Instagram feeds of influencers and they're doing crazy different exercises, you don't have to do that. Keep it simple. Just a simple push-up. You don't have to do a push-up to a shoulder twist to a down dog. Like, keep it simple. Do what you love. Make it fun at the end of the day, but it has to be something that you can see yourself doing. Just final thoughts. Again, you wouldn't have stuck through this whole time if you really didn't want it. But if you want it, you will eventually find a way. And I'm not going to say don't make excuses for ourselves, because we still will make excuses. But it's finding the way, even if it takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you still, you keep hitting snooze or you keep giving up on it, you'll get there eventually because you do want it. Second, any movement is better than no movement. So for me, ultimately, if all you do is walk, I think that's amazing. Go for a walk, go for a hike, go for a jog. Whatever it is, it's movement. Third, be your biggest supporter. I think that's the biggest thing, and not your biggest barrier, because I do think we are our biggest barriers, whether it's mentally, we are telling ourselves we don't want to do this or we can't do this, or we think our kids want us at home all day, or our parents need us all day for something. It's kind of just stop being your barrier. Like, stop and just go give it a try and go try it out. And lastly, celebrate your small wins. I don't know how I found this little picture. I don't have an Apple Watch, but it tells you apparently how many minutes of activity. This one was 1 minute of exercise. Again, it's a little win, whether it's those 5 push-ups you try every day. Those wins, I think, are big. If you don't celebrate them, and if you don't celebrate yourself, you will ultimately just feel like this is a chore. And again, you're not prioritizing fitness to make it feel like it's tedious. You're doing this because you want energy in 10 years. You want to feel healthy and young. So always going back to them, but don't forget to celebrate yourself. And lastly, my information, if you don't have that, if you need my phone number instead, I can give that out. But reach out to me, to your workout buddy, your family, your friends, someone that is feeling stuck like you, someone that's a working mom, a working dad, a full-time student, someone that can relate to you. I think that's important. So reaching out to them, because you're not going to go through this alone. And I'm here for y'all too. So that's my last bit of my spiel. Thank you all for being here, for dedicating just this hour to better yourselves. And thank you, especially Reem, for putting up with me and all this gunk the last week, helping me out, and all the founders of LCN and the board members and the attendees. I haven't even scrolled down to see who's here, but y'all are amazing regardless. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. That was awesome. Sorry, my can you hear me? Sorry, my Siri will randomly go off.
I was trying to figure out how to unshare my screen.
Okay, great. So thank you all for joining us. Thanks so much, Angela. We appreciate you so much. We're so grateful to have you. Such great tips. If you want to go back to that slide with your info, I would keep it up there for everyone to see. I can personally attest to the fact that I follow her Full Potential Fitness Instagram, and it gives me hyped every day. So motivating.
Oh, thanks. Y'all are amazing. Keep it up. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Fitness is overwhelming, and especially with the plethora of experts on social media, I think we get lost. So reach out to people that you trust. If it's not me, if your friend's also a trainer, our yoga instructor here, Reem, has great yoga tips. So again, we all have something we can offer, so reach out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Angela. Okay, everyone, we appreciate you coming out here. Hang around if you want to talk to Angela, or head over to our networking. We have a networking hour after this. We have cocktail tables if you just want to hang out, meet people. And we have 2 more events this evening. We have our keynote speaker after the networking session, who is Shad bin Habib. He's the Senior Vice President of Madrid. So if you're interested in that, he's cool. He's amazing. honored to hang out on the site, meet people, network. Thank you so much, Angela. And yeah, great evening, everyone.
You too. See y'all on the other
Bye.
side. Bye.